Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. Today, I'm sitting down with Karen Raven, who is the co-owner with her husband Clayton of Boat Town, which is Austin's oldest and finest boat dealership. Super excited to be jumping into some conversation around business ownership, some lessons learned, I'm sure, along the journey over the number of years, that sort of thing. So, Karen, first and foremost, thank you for taking the time. Let's start with just a little bit of background. Tell us kind of 10,000-foot view what your background is and tell us about Boat Town.
Well, thank you, Tanner. So my background is business, and my husband and I actually this is it's a third generation business, and so his father Louis Raven, well, his parents Joyce and Louis Raven purchased Boat Town in the early 70s. It was started by another family in 1961. And so, and at that time, my father-in-law was vice president of Austin National Bank and just decided that he, needed to make a change. So my husband really did grow up in the boat business. I mean, he really, honestly and truly, he will tell you, he sold his first boat at 11. And so it's just been kind of involved. We met in college, and before me joining the company, I managed a law firm, and I worked for the governor's office for 9 years. And then we had two small children at that time, and it was just too much for me to go ahead, and because I traveled a lot when I worked at the governor's office. And so anyway, then we started working together, and that was in 1998, and it's been great ever since. We've grown the business significantly during that time frame, and it's always something different. The boat business and the boat industry is very volatile. I mean, you never know, because there's just so many different. It's a luxury item. Let's just be real. And but it's one of the best family pastimes you can have, as long as the family really participates and just enjoys every minute of it. So it's something that I feel very fortunate to be a part of.
Oh my goodness, that is so fantastic. I've got so many thoughts just went through my head in just the background to jump into here. And part of it, I like to kind of preface first the fact that it's a third generation business, working with family members in the business, all that sort of thing. Anything that has to relate to, family run or family businesses, generational, that sort of thing, I'm like super excited about. I have both my parents in the business with me, that, been around family business for a long time. My dad was in his dad's moving business that I think his grandfather started. Like, it all that's just exciting me. So that preface that, because that just like triggered like, oh, I have to ask questions around it. So we'll circle back to that. But let's talk a little bit about kind of today, business journey. I always like to just kind of start with role within the business today. Kind of how many different hats do you have to or get to wear in the business? I'm sure it's changed over the years. But when you look at kind of what your role within the business is today, what does that look like for you?
Okay, well, there's a lot of thoughts going through my mind on that. So in really in the last 5 years, there's just been a serious shift in our business. We opened a second location on Lake LBJ. We opened a restaurant that's associated with that business, and there's a marina. And so that's been, a huge. We started that process in 2016. And then, of course, there was the flood on Lake LBJ. And then you were dealing with COVID. And every day, it seemed like in 2019 or, well, 2021, parts of 22, every day was a different day in terms of, how do we handle everything with the employees this way? How are we dealing with the virus, spraying everything down all the time? I mean, it was just one of those things. How we see our role going forward. The boating industry is changing at a very high rate. Lots of consolidation. Very few businesses anymore are owned by, I want to say, mom and pop, but really you have to be really on top of everything that's going on. So just been a lot of mergers. There's a lot of huge companies that have taken over. So we're kind of, really one of the little guys, but we really do practice, preach, customer service, customer service, customer service. And it's not just customer service being there. It's when the person takes delivery of the boat and really teaching them and the main individuals who are going to be using the boat safety. I mean, everything. If you get pulled over by a game warden, these are all the things that you're going to need. If you're pulling your tri-tune into your slip and the wind is blowing from the east, what do you need to do? So it's just everything, because there's just so many different things that can, go, that can go, I mean, it's different from driving a car. So anyway, that's kind of it.
I love that. Is I always like to ask some questions around kind of what makes your business so special, and how do you differentiate from some of the other players. It's interesting to hear kind of the consolidation, larger companies coming in and maybe kind of merging up with some of the smallers. So how do you stay relevant? How do you stay important to those that you serve? Like what makes you different? Why do your customers choose you over some of the other maybe larger name, companies out there?
Well, so are the several reasons. Number one, I mean, I know people say, but we really do care. I mean, my husband and I, and our third generation is our two sons, Clay and Cody. Clay oversees the Austin store, and Cody is here with us at the LBJ store. But really and truly, we are very aware of like the boat sales that go through, who is, we always ask, how did the delivery go? Is there any problem with, did everything go smoothly? So it's something, and if it's not something that we would feel comfortable with, we really try to stay on top of everything. And the second thing is that our products are just fabulous. We carry Mastercraft. We've been a Mastercraft dealer for 38 years. We've been a Cobalt dealer, a Platinum Cobalt dealer for 37 years. We've been a Chris Craft dealer for 7 years, and then a Barletta dealer for 6 years. And so we stay within our niche. We're not really fishing boat. We're not into yachts. So we have found that if we stay within our niche and do what we do good at, that's the best thing that we can do for our customers and for our personnel. And by the way, our team that's worked with us has been with us for, we all work together for years. So it's just too much time, energy, and effort, to train everybody. And so our team has been with us for, especially in the Austin store, because the Austin store has been there for decades, but it's been around for a long time.
That's fantastic. I absolutely love that, especially in a time where so many businesses in general are seeing staff turnover, things like that. To have longevity is just an amazing aspect of business. But before we kind of shift to some of those questions, I like to ask questions around marketing, and I bring that topic up because I know for a lot of business owners watching this, they're phenomenal at what they do. They love the business. They got into business for that reason, and marketing can be this vast thing out there that not everybody connects with like right away. It takes some skill to learn some things like that. So I like to just find out what other businesses have been doing, what has worked, what hasn't worked, that sort of thing. So what has been y'all's philosophy to marketing or getting the word out there in a business that's been around for as long as y'all have been?
Well, we still believe word of mouth is fabulous. If you treat everybody, it's sad, but if people have a bad experience, they're first to blow everything up and tell the whole world. And then if you have a great experience, they'll tell you, but they're not. So it's kind of sad that the world has somewhat transitioned to that. But marketing has really changed. I almost wish we could go back to the ways of the yellow page ads, to be perfectly honest. That was something you thought about for three weeks. You did a yellow page ad and it was good for the whole year. But those days are long gone. So number one, we have a fabulous marketing director. I mean, she's fabulous. She's innovative, always thinking outside the box. We don't stand in her way, to be perfectly honest. I mean, when people were You know, I mean, this year started off, I mean, you know, with interest rates and everything, you just don't really know how things are going to be. You know, we doubled down. I mean, we did even more we put more money towards the marketing instead of cutting it back. Um, we really do give, you know, we really do give free reign. And honestly, that's why a lot of our, I mean, there's no micromanaging. We believe in our people. They're professional, you know, and they should, you know, they know what they need to do. And Morgan has done a great job. She's got a great team. And you know, it's hard to be everywhere at all at one time. I mean, because there's just so many different things. You know, we don't really do TV. But that's not because we don't believe in TV. I mean, it's just, you know, we just do a lot of everything: geofencing, SEO, Facebook, Instagram. We do direct marketing. We do direct marketing pieces, billboards. We just try to hit it all, and we do a lot of local philanthropy. Especially in the LBJ area, you know, in the Kingsland community, you know, where, you know, there's a greater need, you know, like with the kids and stuff like that. We're really, we do a lot of local community outreach.
I
So
love that.
that's
Absolutely love that.
kind of what we do.
I love that you kind of threw all sorts of stuff in there when it came to different marketing channels that y'all are leveraging. I think from my experience, it's been, you know, it can be too easy to go marketing, think digital stuff, and that's it. When, you know, there's so much value in some direct marketing pieces, or you mentioned billboards. Like in some businesses, industries, that's a phenomenal thing to do, and it's just kind of like overlooked because if you're newer to business, haven't been in business for a long time, well, maybe that one isn't a staple as it might have used to be. So it's really cool to hear some of the different channels that y'all are leveraging. Has there been anything along the way or along this journey, marketing wise, that hasn't worked? That you kind of went through and said that doesn't fit our industry, our business as well, and we're going to focus on the areas that we know have been able to produce results.
Well, to be perfectly honest, strict social marketing, strict, you know, social media, Instagram, you know, all that kind of stuff. Our demographic, you know, boats have gotten to be very expensive. Boating in general has gotten to be very expensive, which really breaks my heart because, you know, back in the day, and again, you know, we've been at this for a really long time. I would love to see the families come in with the little kids, and you know, boats were affordable. It was the, you know, the best pastime. You know, now in today's world, we really do see more the grandparents buying the boat. And that demographic is going to be different. I mean, they're not necessarily, I'm not gonna blanket that, you know, all more mature people, you know, aren't as much on social media, but as a general rule, I know I'm not. I mean, I don't, you know, I'm not on social media like on a regular basis, really, kind of at all. I mean, and so you have to go ahead and reach those people in another way. And so that's been, not that that's different, but you know, your audience is, for us, has become more mature because of the mere cost, and you know, the ability then for the grandparents, so that the grandkids will come through the kids, and it becomes more of a generational type pastime that everyone can enjoy. So that's really what we're seeing. So you really do need to go ahead and pay attention to print and everything else that they're going to be, that everybody is going to be more willing to, not willing, but, you know, to see, or, you know, doing that kind of stuff. So that's important.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge nugget for those that are watching this. Pause, go back, listen again. I mean, the key takeaway here is know who your audience is, know who the target market is today, and how that's shifted over time, and then go find them where they are, not
Well, I
where
mean, the
you hope
reality
they
is,
are.
you know, the boat payment, I mean, the family cell phone has taken the place of a boat payment, to be perfectly honest.
Hmm.
And of course, you know, now it's all about your cell phone. It's all about the, you know, like the whole thing. So that was an expense that wasn't there, you know, 15, 20 years ago, you know, when we were, and again, we've been doing this for 60 years. So it's been a long time, but so the family dynamic has different expenses than what they had years ago. And so it's always staying on top of it, on top of that, and just realizing that um, and now interest rates are higher.
Mhm.
And so, in all the years we've been doing this, I've never seen boat prices come down.
Fair point. Um,
Yeah.
so I want to shift a little bit on and ask a few questions around the aspect of being in a business with family.
Hmm.
And, it's such a fun topic for me personally, but I know if there's you know, other business owners out there, whether they're working alongside maybe a spouse in the business, or they're looking at, bringing the spouse in at some point, or bringing their kids in down the road, or maybe they're already there. Um, what has that dynamic been like, over the years for y'all, and how do you navigate through what I know can be some emotional challenges that can get entangled within kind of the business world?
That's a really good question. So, and of course, we have colleagues throughout the United States that are in the boat business that we've seen over the years, that are, because the majority of them were all family businesses. And now, of course, that's transitioned. Um, you really, you need to stay in your lane, and, and you need to be respectful of everybody's talents that they can go ahead and bring to the board. My husband's parents are amazing. I mean, they went ahead and gave us all the tools of everything, and they didn't stand over us. They didn't question us. They didn't, they just were like, we have confidence in you. We know that you'll be fine. If you need us, we're here. But there wasn't a control like, oh, only I can do it better, than you. They were very empowering. And so I have to remind my husband and I of that so much, because we have two very capable sons who can do the same thing. I would recommend that that you don't get it into having it be so many. A lot of people would bring in, third and fourth cousins, and I'm just speaking. It's better to keep it as as concise as you can.
Mm.
Um, so so it doesn't get too convoluted and messy, and one of the one of the hardest things also is that we don't know, we really have to work on when we're around their uh, our sons and their beautiful wives and their kids and everything, that we don't just always talk about business. You've got to talk about every other things that are going on, and just really make that conscious effort that there's work time, and there's we love you, and we just want to have hear about how the kids are doing and stuff like that. So it's really that, that's a hard, not hard, but it is. I mean, you really need to make that, that effort, because it's so easy to go back into work. And life isn't always all about work all the time, even though I have to keep reminding myself that, but there does need to be some balance.
I know that is going to strike a chord with many out there that are in similar
Mhm.
situations. Like I think of just our situation. My wife hates it when we get together and all of a sudden we're talking business. It's like, oh, we didn't mean to. It just kind of naturally comes up, and
It
you do have
does.
to be conscious about what that looks like. And it's like, nope, let's just talk about the kids and what they did at school this week, and actually different things that aren't perfectly related to business.
Yeah, exactly. And if there's one other thing, I would, don't try to put a circle, I mean, a circle into a square, because both of our sons are different. They're both very capable, but one is great people person, and he's just really great at putting together a deal and really understanding the whole boat world. And the other son is great at that also, but he's more detail oriented, so, and maybe not as people oriented, and so you have to kind of put people where they best shine, and not try to make somebody that they're not, or have expectations that they're, supposed to be doing something when it's just really not in their DNA. I mean, it's just not in them to be able to do that. So that's that.
So that's a really good piece of advice. Where do things go in the next 3 to 5 years? What's the outlook? What are you excited for? How do things shift and change over the next 3 to 5 years in the business?
Well, we're going to be very very aware of everything in the in the overall business climate. There's keeping up with what's going on, politically, business climate wise, just, is there a recession? Is there not a recession? I mean, that whole, dynamic. So we're being a little more cautious, and just being conservative, but we've always been conservative, to be perfectly honest. I mean, in terms of how we do our business thing, because it's real easy. Everything that we buy is expensive. I mean, you buy, a boat comes in, it's not like you haven't paid for that boat, so you just need to, you have to keep your expenses in control, and it's always hard. You never know how things are going to go ahead and come around. So I mean, the last 3 years haven't been real. I mean, for once, the boat business really, I mean, because people came out to their lake houses, everybody was saying, be outside. And then, so for once, the boat world and the outdoor world in general, the outdoor recreation world, not just boats, but RVs and utility vehicles and golf carts and everything, really, they were short to come by, and people, wanted that. Well, things have changed now again. And so, you just have to, we probably are too boring, but we just, we'll just kind of keep our straight, steady path. That's probably what we will be doing for sure. So
I love it. It's the forward focus and being aware of everything, I think is really important. And for having a number of years of experience and knowing to be on the lookout for some of that stuff, I think is incredible wisdom that comes across in this conversation here. But Karen, I do want to be respectful of the time that we have. So I'd love to shift to kind of our rapid fire questions, pull some extra little nuggets out for the audience before we wrap up today.
okay.
So I've got 4 of them here in total.
Oh gosh.
The first one is, you look on kind of your journey through this crazy journey of business ownership so far. What would you say is your key to success?
um, Being able to adapt well in a climate, and listening to customers. We're not a corporate structure. If we need to go ahead and, I mean, we're customer focused, and the ability to, we can change.
I like
We're
that.
not scared of change. We can adapt. That's been a big thing for us.
I like that. If you could give just one piece of advice for other business owners out there, what piece of advice would you give them?
Um, piece of advice. Empower your people. It's important to choose well, but people have strengths, and people have strengths. It's not like, I mean, and just help, just enable them to do their very best is what I would. And listen, don't box yourself and think that you're always the right way, and that it's your way or it's the highway. People do have other. I'm a big believer of people putting their minds together. One mind is better than more minds can be better than just one. So that's
I
just
like it.
my thought.
It's a good piece of advice. What's one book that either you're currently reading or have read most recently that you would recommend to the audience?
Um, oh gosh, They Ask You Answer by
Yes.
oh gosh.
Marcus
Marcus
Sheridan.
Sheridan.
Yep.
It's trying to answer the question of the customer prior to them asking it, and being able to um, uh, yeah, I mean, being able to go ahead and fully give them the confidence that you have the ability, to answer the question before they even ask it. So that's um, that book. Yeah.
That is a great recommendation. I'm a huge fan of Marcus's work, but great recommendation, especially for the audience here. All right, final rapid fire question. This one's just kind of a fun one. If you could choose only one area, and you only get to choose one area in the business that you could take some magic dust and sprinkle it all over it, and wake up tomorrow, it's 10 times better than it is today, where would you choose to put that magic dust?
Oh gosh. Um, I would put it in. So if I answer this, it's going to seem like um, the the boat business is light years behind the car business in terms of service automation.
Hmm.
So I would put it on the service department. Not that I don't think our service department is great. I'm talking about the IT of it. Like, so for example, if like in the car world, if a person needs like a part, GM and all these people, they have the parts for it. If that's not the case in the boat world, you have to. It's not nearly as so. If I had magic sprinkle dust, I would love to be able to be able to fully automate the service area, the service aspect of the boat world and our business in general, because it's not there.
That is a fantastic answer. Probably one of the better answers I've heard. So that is fantastic. For those, Karen, that want to learn more, that want to kind of follow the amazing work that you're doing, that maybe in the market to buy a boat here sometime soon, where can we recommend that the audience goes and either connects with y'all or finds out more information about the amazing business that y'all have been building over the years?
Well, you can certainly find our website is www.boattown.com. You can learn pretty much anything you want to about our business there, and all of the lines and the brands. I can always be reached at Karen@boattown.com. And yeah, it's I mean, we're just trying to go ahead and have families have fun together, and you know just enjoy each other's time. That's really what our goal in business is. It's just creating those happy memories and enjoying the lake lifestyle. That's what we do.
It's amazing business to be in. Final question for the day to wrap up the conversations. I'd love to end on this one specific question, and that is, what is most inspiring to you today?
Inspiring to me. So, and I know this is going to sound cliche, but really and truly, at the end of the day, we will go ahead and, for example, some customers of ours, they were just in, they were an older clients, and their kids have now just purchased a boat from us, and their grandkids, are all just jumping up and down. But it really and truly is just the happy faces of the kids. I mean, honestly, it really is. And the generations of people that have continued to buy boats from us, which we're forever thankful for. But it's just their happiness. I mean, that's really and truly, I know that sounds cliche, but that really is what inspires us, my husband and I, and the boys, in the work that we do.
Well,
So,
that passion definitely comes out in the conversation. So I am inspired simply by hearing what inspires you. But Karen, I want to say thank you just for taking the time. I know we could probably dive into so much more when it comes to business and all the amazing things that you've learned along the way. But thank you so much for taking the time and sharing a little bit about your story and the amazing business that you all have with us and with the audience here today.
well, thank you. I hope that you have a great weekend, and I appreciate your time very much also.